All right, everybody. Unhappy Wednesday coming to you live once again from our humble abode. This is the Unhappy Gilmore Show, powered by Green Legion Radio, part of the Green Legion Radio family. We thank you, as always, for joining us tonight from wherever you may be and whatever service you're using to tune in. So please pull up a chair, turn up the volume, use the company dime if you're still stuck at work, crack open a cold one if you've got the opportunity. And let's try to have some fun as we put an end to day 3 of this week's hostage situation and look forward to tomorrow being Friday Eve, and tomorrow also the home opener for our beloved Birds. Who the hell is in the room already? Califoot right off the bat. What's up, big dog? Yankees suck. Yeah, well, if we suck, what does that say about you guys right now? So anyways. Renee Santiago Colon, hello, dear. Nice to see you. Kevin Rice in the room. What's up? What's up, Dad? Inside joke. Gloria, looks like she's ready for some football. Andrew Bagley, good evening, everyone. And it's Eagles Eve, and I got a big game versus Atlanta tonight. Damn, life is good. Yeah, well, life would be better for your Phils if you just stay the hell away from that bullpen. Man, I don't know what the hell. You don't have Chicago by much now. That is going to be a dogfight right to the end, it looks like. I know Chris Sack is already checking airfare for Chicago in case that playoff series starts there. But anyways, who else in the room? Bryant Walden, how you doing, my friend? Great to see you too. Folks, if you're tuning in on Facebook or Twitter, please do not forget to like, follow, share, and subscribe to the Green Legion. If those services are where you're more comfortable, we totally understand. But please, just like most of the folks in the room can tell you, take a look at the YouTube page. It is the best way to watch, listen, comment, interact with the folks in the room and with us on any Green Legion Radio show. So even if you're more comfortable on Facebook or Twitter, why don't you head on over to YouTube, search the Green Legion, hit subscribe, hit your little bell so you get notifications every time a show goes live. That is this show on Wednesday nights. That is Bud Light Baseball Brunch all throughout the season and hopefully into the playoffs for your hunt for Red October with Greg Murphy and Chris Sack. That is the Green Legion Player Show and Green Legion Radio and the pregame show, which you will catch tomorrow night at the tailgate in there in Philly. If you cannot catch our shows live, you can always watch or listen later on any of the services previously mentioned or on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. Previously mentioned, Bud Light Baseball Brunch, Greg Murphy, Chris Sack. Thursday night football means Sunday is for the Phils. Well, until more football comes on, I guess. But you don't want to miss that show. I know Andrew, I'm sure you're tuned in all the time. There's two guys doing an absolutely fantastic job. Best Phillies talk out there. Please don't miss it. I'm not even a Phillies fan, and I make sure I watch every chance I get. And if I can't watch it live, I do go back and check it out later on. Green Legion Invasions. Tampa Bay is just, well, for us here, my wife and I, we are going to fly down next Thursday, spend some time with a couple of friends of ours, Thursday night, Friday night. Saturday morning, we will get up and head up to the Hampton and meet up with the Green Legion crew coming in, driving over from South Florida. And that will be a blast. The other day, obviously, travel packages, like we've talked about every week, travel packages for Tampa have been sold out for quite some time now. As of the other day, there was a post. We were up to, I think, 1,200 for the tailgate. That left about 100 spots left, right? 100 spots open. And that was the other day. So if you're going down to Tampa and you're doing your own travel and all of that, and you're looking for a tailgate option, don't hesitate. We're almost out of time. And I would bet that once we get down there, unless Steph and Quimby and the folks are able to, negotiate more space at George M. Steinbrenner Field, I would guess 1,300 is probably going to be the cap, and that would be it. But if you're looking for game day options down there and you're doing your own self-travel, ticket, tailgate, and pep rally, $490 per person. That is a total of 6 hours of open bar with the pep rally and the tailgate. That's also 3 hours of all you can eat at the tailgate, plus your ticket to the game. Ticket and tailgate only, $440. Again, 3 hours, all you can eat, all you can drink, plus your ticket to the game. Tailgate and pep rally, $185. Tailgate only, $115. Pep rally, only $75. And that is what's left for Tampa. All other Green Legion trips still wide open. Okay, that's Kansas City, Seattle, Dallas, Los Angeles. The bus trips to New York for both the Giants game and the Jets game, and also the bus trip to DC. And, of course, the bye-week bender in Punta Cana. I say it every week. The wife and I we took that trip back in 2020. Absolutely fantastic time. A little bit smaller group. Still a lot of, little bit smaller group. A lot of fun. Awesome resort. All-inclusive. If you have the opportunity, I highly recommend jumping on that Barcelo Bavaro down in Punta Cana. Excellent time. So if there are any of those trips that you're looking to jump on, you've got it in your head, I want to go to Kansas City. I've never been to Seattle. The Dallas thing sounds like fun. Oh, man, how could I skip LA? Don't hesitate. We say it every week. I'm not the only one saying it. Jump on it while you can. These packages will sell out. We play at Kansas City the Monday before Thanksgiving. Don't think you're going to get to like November 1st, the first week of November, and, I'll just jump in now. Maybe you'll be able to. Maybe you won't, particularly if the Birds continue to do what we all think they should be able to do and, what we hope they do, which is keep winning. Winning breeds more fans, more business. So any of those trips look enticing to you, jump on it now. Don't hesitate. Because he who hesitates, we're not going to say it. I'll let you guys use your imagination. For our group out here, Midwest Eagles Nest, I saw our friend Kevin in the room. Fantastic turnout for week one. I think we were 35, 40 people at one point, and that's including kids. But you got to start somewhere, right? I really want all of you to keep bringing that energy week over week, right? Just keep bringing it every week. Understanding that the primetime games are difficult. Okay, everybody's got to work the next day. So Thursday night games, Monday night games, Sunday night games, that gets tough. But look, the more support we get, the more consistent we have a solid sized group up there at the back porch, the more things open up to us as a group. So, keep coming out, keep showing support. We are going to try to get a photographer to come out. Let's save that for like a 1:00 game when we're more confident that more people can show up. But I don't want to do it too late in the year when it starts getting really cold, because some of the pictures want to get group shots out front and everything. I want everybody, jerseys and everything rather than bundled up freezing cold. But we'll make do with what we got. So we're looking forward to that. You guys all know about the drink specials, $3 Bud Light or Yuengling 16-ounce draft, $16 buckets. That's 5 beers for $16. Bud Light, Yuengling, Coors Light, or Miller Lite 12-ounce bottles. And we have and I forgot my cup downstairs. We have the 22-ounce Kelly Green Eagles cups that we started using this past Sunday. You can fill that with Bud Light or Yuengling for $3.50. One thing for any of my Midwest Eagles Nest folks that are listening. Some people were walking out of there with, more cups than they really needed. Let's try to keep that under control. Bring it back with you when you come, wash it out, bring it back with you. Don't think you're just going to take home 3-4 cups every week or more than that. I saw sleeves. So let's cut that down. Wristbands will still be available, $2 a piece. Again, I have to charge you for them because we had to pay for them. And, of course, the sign-up sheet for the Cincinnati Cyclones game on the bye week, Birds bye week, which will be Saturday night, November 11th at 7:30. Sorry, a little scratchy today. All right. Let's see who else. Let's see what else is going on in the room here. Keenan Harmon, puff pass in the room. Andrew Bagley, why are people panicking already about the Birds? Come on, folks. It's one game, and this team will be fine, but expectations are sky high. Excellent question. You always bring it every week, Andrew. So I agree with you. I think the worst thing any of us as a fan base can do is overreact to week one. Okay, take a look at last year, week one, and we'll talk a little bit of that coming up. Last year, week one, we opened up at Detroit, and it ended up being Detroit was better than anybody thought they were. And it was our defense that struggled mightily that game, right? Still pulled out the win. This year, we go to New England, and maybe New England's a little bit better than anybody gave them credit for, myself included. And this year, it's the offense that struggled. Now, look, if you want me to sugarcoat it, I'm not going to do that. The play calling on offense looked, it was just, it felt really vanilla. The blocking up front, the offensive line, this offensive line that is rated number one in the NFL did not look like it very often on Sunday. Bill Belichick is a mastermind on defense. All right. He is going to take away things. He's going to create havoc. And the idea, obviously, with the RPO offense was to, RPO is about the decision by the quarterback, whether to pull it down and run, drop back to throw, whatever the case may be. The idea on defense for the Pats, and of course, Belichick had a good game plan and his players executed, was to confuse the looks for Jalen so that he was unsure of whether to pull it down or whether to drop back. And, it worked, unfortunately for us. For the most part, it worked. If it's not for big play Slay, you're probably talking about us being 0-1 right now. But be that as it may, we did manage to win. So, Andrew, I agree with you, man. There's been a lot of overreaction, not just to the Birds either. It's across the league, right? I live out here in Cincinnati. You want to talk about panic? They had just inked Burrow to that monster deal on like Thursday of last week. And then he comes out and looks horrific on Sunday. Now, look, that Browns defense, that Browns pass rush is no joke. All right. So I do think that Burrow's erratic throwing, while a lot of it had to do with him still needing to shake off the rust because he had the calf injury and wasn't practicing all throughout the preseason, the Browns are very good up front, and they're going to create problems as a pass rush. So, but there's panic all over the place. Look at the Bills. Aaron Rodgers goes down 4 plays into his Jets career, and the Bills still can't win the football game. Look at the Giants. I mean, you want to talk about getting bludgeoned? Holy hell. The Steelers got whacked pretty bad. The Rams come out and blow out Seattle. I mean, it was a weird first week. Jordan Love looked good. The Bears did not. It's week one. Do I think some of that is a product of most teams not playing their starters in the preseason? Yeah, I do. But again, like we've talked about on this show, and we talked about it briefly last week, I'm not going to question it. We did the same thing last season, and we made it all the way to the Super Bowl, and we're one second half defensive stop from being world champions. So, look, what I would tell you is if we're week 3, week 4, and that offense still looks that bad, then it's time for concern. Right now, no. Now, we're going to play a bad Vikings defense tomorrow night. I expect to light that scoreboard up in front of the home crowd against that piss-poor defense. And unfortunately, with the injuries on our side, I think we're going to have to. And we'll get to that. So, Andrew, thank you for the question, brother. But I agree with you. Stop. Don't overreact. It's too early. Califoot, am I the only one that's nervous about this Birds team? Completely laid down the second. Dude, they didn't lay down. This is exactly what we were just talking about. There was no laying down. It's the first week, and you got to work some things out. Don't forget, there's also 2 new coordinators. Overall, I thought the defense actually played pretty well, considering the fact that the offense was 3 and out a whole bunch of times. So I'm not going to get worked up about that. So, all right. Keenan Harmon. I sold the chief electrician at work on the Dallas Sucks trip. He approached me yesterday asking who I travel with. When I got done, I know he went straight to his office and booked it. Excellent work. Keep pushing that, brother. Love it. Kevin Rice only had 4 cups. That's a crock of shit. What else do we have here? Keenan, 4 defensive. Yep, I know. We're going to get to it. David Califoot, so that means Jalen cannot get more than 1 TD. I don't know what you're getting at there. Jordan Ramsey, I ain't worried. Great teams finish games. The Eagles from 3 years ago lose that game, no question. That is an excellent point. This team, prior to Jalen Hurts, prior to the new regime, would have lost that game. That's where you would have seen them lay down. But that didn't happen. There's no quit in this team. It's just about working out the early season stuff. Lou Mancini, I'm late to the party. Did someone save my seat? All right. So let's get to today in sports history, and then we'll move on to the boner of the week, which I think you guys will all enjoy. So today, September 13th, in sports history, in 1883, Hugh Daly, a one-armed pitcher for Cleveland, tosses a 1-0 no-hitter against Philadelphia. In 1909, Ty Cobb clinches the American League home run title with his 9th dinger of the season. 9th. All of them inside the park home runs. 1925, Brooklyn Dodger Dazzy Vance no-hits the Phillies in a 10-1 victory. Not a very good date in history for Philadelphia baseball. 1934, I thought this one was interesting, especially when you put it in perspective of how much these TV stations and everything, all these huge deals you see them paying for the rights to broadcast sports. 1934, Major League Baseball Commissioner Kennesaw Mountain Landis sells the World Series broadcast rights to Ford for $100,000. I would love to know what that is in today's money, because they pay billions for that stuff now. 1936, 17-year-old Cleveland Indians future baseball Hall of Fame pitcher Bob Feller strikes out a then record 17 Philadelphia A's in a 5-2 win at League Park in Cleveland. 1965, Willie Mays' 500th home run. Giants win their 11th straight. Same date, 6 years later, Frank Robinson hits his 500th home run. Finally, some good news on this date in sports history for the Philadelphia Phillies. In 1982, Steve Carlton tosses a complete game shutout and hits a home run for the 4th time in his career in a 2-0 win over St. Louis at the Vet. He becomes the only pitcher to do so in 3 different decades. Pretty impressive. And in 1999, our last one on the list, the Denver Broncos retired John Elway's number 7. So there you have it. Picked on your Philadelphia baseball a little bit. Andrew Bagley. Does Hurts seem to miss lots of wide open opportunities now? Saw many times it happened. Yeah, well, it did happen versus the Patriots. He missed Goddard twice. Look, we were off. Okay, there's just no other way to cut it. The offense was flat. They came out. That's the best way I can describe it. They came out flat. Jalen was off. The opening drive we looked pretty sharp, but then the Patriots kind of adjusted, and it looked like they got Jalen uncomfortable. And I think that's where you see the errant throws. The two not having Goddard involved really hurt, and I think that was a game plan by Belichick and the Patriots was to take away Dallas Goedert. No. Lou Mancini. I was originally going to say Michigan State coach for Boner of the Week, but I think you're leaning toward the NFL. I thought maybe Rodgers, but I'm kind of stumped. Well, Rodgers is part of it, brother. And we're going to get to that here in just a second. All right. Yeah, Lou Mancini. Week 1 is always sloppy in today's game. No doubt. We won the game, guys. No reason to overreact. Let's move on to the boner of the week here. We got a lot to get to. So, coming out of week one, and Lou was right, we're staying with the NFL. No shortage of candidates here. You know, I mean, when you look at the Bears come out and lay an egg, Seattle comes out and lays an egg. We looked pretty erratic, but there were some real glaring examples. How about the Giants getting thumped 40-0 at home? In, I mean, epic fashion. How about the Jets? I mean, they won the game, but where does their season go from here now that it's Zach Milfson under center again? How about the Buffalo Bills? Rodgers is gone before everyone in the stadium even got to grab a beer, and you still lose because Josh Allen continues to regress. I mean, a little impossible to decide because there's so much. So I think we'll go with D, all of the above. And we are just going to go ahead and hand the award to all of New York football. Yes, I realize the Giants and Jets play in New Jersey, but they're called the New York Giants, New York Jets, and of course the Buffalo Bills. So we're just going to give the boner of the week to all of them, the whole, as a collective group. For the Giants, I'm sure you've all seen this by now, but I can't help it. Let me run through this for you real quick. For the Giants, no NFL team has ever had the following things happen over the course of an entire season. Over the course of an entire season. Lose by 40 or more. Lose 40-0 or worse. Lose a sack battle 7-0 or worse. Lose the turnover battle 3-0 or worse. Have a field goal get blocked and returned for a touchdown, and toss a pick six. No team in the history of the league has ever been on the crap end of all of those things in a single season. The New York Giants, well, they managed to check all of those boxes in one game on Sunday night. The only downside is it was against Dallas. So, on that. But yeah, lose by 40 or more, get sacked 7-0 or more, lose a turnover battle 3-0 or more, have a field goal get blocked in return for a touchdown, and toss a pick six. No team has ever done that all in 1 year. The Giants did it all on Sunday night. On to the Jets. Traded for Rodgers during the offseason. Rodgers takes a huge pay cut, right, to add cap space. The Jets add Dalvin Cook, so on and so on. Sports media all loses its mind with many of them picking the Jets as a Super Bowl favorite. Now, keep in mind, we had them here on this show contending with Miami for the division. In no way, shape, or form did I think they were a Super Bowl contender. Now, but that was contingent on a healthy Rodgers and a committed Rodgers. Well, that's out the window now. So what does Rodgers do? On his fourth snap of the season, third drop back, first two, by the way, he was running for his life. He pops his Achilles tendon and is done for the season, leaving the Jets with Zach Milfson and now all the rumors of who else they might go get. You've heard Nick Foles' name. You heard the ridiculous Tom Brady rumors, which were put to bed today. That was never going to happen. You've heard Carson Wentz. You've heard Colin Kaepernick's agent has reached out to the Jets. I mean, look, if you're going to feel bad for a fan base, that's the one, right? I mean, the Browns and them, those have to be it. And then now go. Let's flash forward, right? So Rodgers is 39 years old. He'll be 40 in December. This isn't like a young kid, cornerback, linebacker, or something popping their Achilles in their early to mid 20s. Still hungry, not had a championship yet, hasn't had all the accolades, hasn't gotten the big payday yet. This is Aaron Rodgers, 39 years old right now, 40 in December. He's got a Super Bowl ring. He's got 4 MVPs, and he's filthy rich. You got to wonder if when the rehab of this injury starts to get tough and maybe he has a setback or whatever, dude, is he just going to be like, you know what? I'm done. The only saving grace for the Jets out of all this is that conditional pick that they traded to the Packers will stay a second-round pick. It will not turn to a first-round pick because Rodgers had to play 65% of the snaps this season. Oh, God. I saw another meme. It said, it's about Rodgers. It said that Tim Tebow lasted longer on his wedding night than Rodgers did in the Jets uniform. Oh, all right. And for the Bills, look, they've had one of the most talented rosters in the league for a number of years. Josh Allen looked like a perennial MVP candidate just less than 2 years ago. Only this year, the rest of the division had gotten better, while the Bills only adding small pieces. Now, obviously, a lot of the getting better was Rodgers going to the Jets, which we just covered as a disaster now, right? The most notable thing for me with the Bills is they've never truly given Josh Allen a number one, like a true trustworthy running back to hand the ball off to. It's just been Allen back to throw, Allen out of the shotgun, Allen out of the rollout, Allen run to the left, to the right, up the middle, and then he doesn't slide. But since Brian Daboll has become the Giants head coach instead of the Bills offensive coordinator, at the start of the 2022 season through the first week of this year, including the 2 playoff games the Bills played in last year, Josh Allen leads the NFL in turnovers. He's thrown 20 interceptions and lost 7 fumbles. And I stress the word lost because I didn't look at the total number of fumbles. You know, you can make an argument that any fumble that ends a drive should also be considered a turnover. So how many of the fumbles that he didn't lose actually cost them a drive, put them in 3rd and long, happened on 3rd down, whatever the case may be. And then you bring to last night, even with Rodgers going down early, the Bills still find a way to lose 22-16 on Monday night as Josh Allen goes out, throws 3 interceptions, and loses a fumble. It is absolute nightmare fuel for New York football right now. Now, look, I just said don't overreact to week 1. The Jets, I think, of the 3, I think the Jets have the biggest reason to be concerned. They have the best defense of those 3. But the league, Zach Wilson, come on, man. So I think in 13 of their final 16 games, they would be in what we call a quarterback deficit, right? And that's a problem. Your defense can be great and all, but if your offense cannot sustain drives, put up some points, and keep that defense fresh, eventually that defense is going to get worn out. Guys are going to get dinged up, and it's all going to fall apart. So there's your boner of the week, everybody. It is the entirety of football in New York. I couldn't help myself with that one. Just felt too perfect. All right. Wow. What in the hell is going on over here? Boy, I'm way behind. I need someone to manage this room. Jordan Ramsey. I saw a stat. Hurts was pressured on almost 40% of his snaps, and that can easily cause missed open players. This offense will clean it up. Too much talent and too much experience on this team not to. 100% agreed. 100% agreed. And that was kind of my answer to Andrew. Was Hurts missing open guys? Yeah, absolutely he was. But it's because he was under duress quite a bit. And I think the Patriots did a really good job of masking, the look. And a lot of that RPO is a read, and they executed, and it was a struggle, but a struggle that we did win. Who else over here? Russ Taylor, hide your moms. Wilson's on the prowl, right? Joe Burrow. else? Lou Dominguez in the room. How you doing, my friend? Imagine being a Mets and Jets fan. Yeah, well, it doesn't get much better in the Bronx either, so I can't really talk too much smack. At least the Mets, they didn't double down on it. They went out, they spent a whole bunch of money on two pitchers that are 40 years old, and it didn't work. And so they smartly recognized it, traded it away, got what they could back for them, and now they've hired a new president of baseball operations too. So I think you see an owner there who may have recognized that, look, I can't just be fanboy running around throwing money at people. I need actual baseball guys around. And it makes me sick to say it, but it sounds like he recognized the issues and is trying to fix it. Lou Mancini, fourth snap led to a fifth, his Achilles. That is brutal, brother. Brutal. Lou Dominguez, if he hangs it up, his Hall of Fame bust will still say that he played for the Jets. It will. He took 4 snaps. Keenan Harmon, 24 hours from now, Quimby will be shit-faced. Bet it. Why do you think he's not shit-faced right now? I'd bet that one too. All right. Let's get to our birds, huh? We've been talking about it here with questions and me trying to answer them, but let's just go over some of the stuff from Sunday. But before we do so, I'm going to do this, and I will keep trying to do this until one of you chickens hops in here and starts talking to me a little bit. You click that link. It'll take you to a separate page. You test your microphone and everything on that page, and then, click enter room. I'll see you pop up kind of in the virtual backstage area, and then I can bring you onto the screen. The only thing you would have to do is either close out of the page you're in while watching and interacting, or mute the volume on that page before you come into the room. So there, it's not that difficult, folks. And it's just us here talking birds, baby. This is not like, it's a podcast. It's not a live broadcast on a radio station. I wish it was. That's the goal, is to get to that. But right now we're just a podcast. So come on in and have some fun if you want. We are an open book. But let's get down to the birds. Disappointing, I think, is the best way to sum it up, right? We expected, I know I did, I expected to go into New England on Tom Brady love night and beat the hell out of them. And then when we got up 16-0 early on, I really thought, like, oh boy, this is going to get out of control fast. Unfortunately, you got to give credit to the stinking Patriots for settling things down, correcting, getting the defense aligned, and forcing our offense into a lot of 3-and-outs, a lot of quick possessions, which then gassed our defense and allowed the Patriots offense to start marching their way down the field. The offense looked pretty bad. Okay. There's really no way. We're not going to sugarcoat that. I'm not going to freak out about it, but I'm not going to sugarcoat it either. Our bread and butter, the last 2 years, has been the run game. And Jordan Ramsey, I'm going to address your question there in just a minute. We were held to 97 yards on 25 carries, which is just under 4 per carry. That is alarming, to say the least. Like I said, bread and butter is the run game. We have that physical offensive line that's been able to push people around, talented running backs, an extremely talented quarterback who can run. Didn't work out. Gainwell leads the way. 14 carries, 54 yards, added 4 catches for 20 yards. Look, I would have liked to see more of a committee. When DeAndre Swift is only getting 1 carry for 3 yards, and I think I think Nick addressed this already. It's like, that can't happen. That to me was a problem. I also question Jordan Ramsey asks it right here. What's up with Penny getting a healthy scratch? Kind of a head scratcher to me. Also, Swift not getting enough chances. I like Gainwell, but to make him an every down back was a surprise. I agree with you 100%. Gainwell getting the bulk of the carries. I can appreciate the fact that they wanted to give him some respect or whatever. For being he looked great down the stretch last year. He was really good in the playoffs. So you want to come out, try to make a statement with him. Got to remember, he's 5'8". Okay. 5'8", like 200 pounds soaking wet. This is not a big running back. And that's a physical defensive front. Belichick defense is going to be a very physical defense, which is where I also agree with you that I don't understand the healthy scratch of Rashad Penny. Bigger back, more capable of handling the physicality, and then only getting Swift one carry. Like, look, Boston Scott, he's great against the Giants, and he's great in small bursts or whatever. But I thought we'd see at least an even split between Swift and Gainwell, and it was predominantly Gainwell, and it did not work after the opening drive. That run game went nowhere. Jalen Hurts added 9 carries for 37 yards, but that fumble, guys, that fumble late in the game. Look, I love Jalen Hurts, but that fumble is 1,000% on him. I'm not even blaming the play call. I thought the play call in that spot was actually brilliant. Spread them all out. We're trying to kill the clock. Spread them all out. Get the defense wide, and then Jalen just takes the snap and goes up the gut. And he had 5 or 6 yards, and then he got greedy, and he tried to get low and push for more. And when he did it, if you watch the replay, he put the football on his hip, right? And the defender came up, got lower. Pop, out came the ball. That is 100% on Jalen, and he knows it. That kid's way too humble to not, to try to. He's not going to pass the buck. He knows he screwed up there. I would have preferred to see him just take the 5 or 6 already, get down, let that clock run, don't get greedy. But again, he tried to bring that shoulder down. When he did, he had the ball on the hip, and defender gets lower than you, and that ball's sticking out down there. You're going to lose that football. I don't care how strong you are. We covered the Scott. Yeah, Scott and Swift each only had 1 carry for 3 yards. Swift can't only have 1 carry. That can't happen. It's not why we brought him in. He's way too talented for that. You've got to figure out a way to get him the ball more. And we're playing Minnesota tomorrow night. Minnesota's defense was terrible last year. I don't expect them to be much better this year. I expect this offense to get right. Through the air, Jalen was 22 of 33. So 66, 67% of his passes. Only 170 yards and the lone touchdown to Devontae. Brown, 7 grabs for 79 yards. Smith had 7 for 47 in the touchdown. Quez with 2 for 17. The biggest issue here, no Dallas Goedert. All right. And it seemed very obvious to me very early on that the Patriots' game plan was to take Dallas Goedert away. I think they realized they were not going to be able to shut down Brown and Smith completely, right? So just take away one of the weapons and apply pressure and confusion to Jalen, and it worked. They took Dallas Goedert away from us, and they did apply pressure and confusion to Jalen. And you saw the erratic throws, 2 of them trying to hit Goddard. And, it led to a difficult afternoon, a very nerve-wracking second half, particularly when Jalen fumbled that ball. Dude, when he fumbled that ball, I'm like, are we going to screw around and lose this game? Like, this is pretty ugly if we do, up 16-0 early. But we held in there. Goddard, 1 target, 0 catches. Again, Belichick is going to scheme a way to take something away from you. It was obvious that Goddard was that guy. And they executed it, unfortunately. The number 1 rated offensive line in the league coming into the season got pushed around quite a bit on Sunday, which was very concerning. I know they came off the right side. Does anyone know if they charged Lane Johnson with that sack? Because I know they kind of overloaded on that side and blitzed from over there, so I don't know if it got charged to land. I mean, look, the sack is the sack. I mean, eventually he's going to give one up. But it just they got pushed around. And that, to me, on the offensive side, look, if Jalen's a little off, I can kind of handle that first week of the year. Your offensive line got pushed around really, really badly for a great deal of that game. And that, to me, is the most concerning part coming out of the game. I'm not going to, again, first week, right? No overreactions. We're not freaking out. But if you're going to look at something on the offensive side of the ball to, look, okay, this has to improve or we are going to continue to have trouble, the offensive line has to do a better job. It just is what it is. Hurts was hit 5 times, sacked 3 times, and the run game was held to less than 4 yards per carry. This is not Philadelphia Eagle football, okay? You guys all know it. I know it. The Birds know it, and I'm sure the Vikings know it too. But again, a win is a win, but yeesh. Thankfully, Jakey was on his game, despite the missed extra point. He did connect from 32, 48, 51, and 56 yards. So we'll go ahead and forgive him for that extra point. As a team, we were 4 for 13 on third down. That's really just ugly. Again, they looked flat. Is it is this because they didn't play the preseason? It's probably part of it, Defense looked flat in the opener last year. This year it was the offense. Last year we played a team that had a better offense, not so much of a defense. This year we played a team much better defense than their offense. If you're going to come out flat, we won both games, but the struggles in those 2 games, it makes sense. Detroit was much better offensively than anyone gave them credit for. Right from the beginning of the year last year, but not good defensively. So we ended up winning that game because our offense pulled it out. Sunday, the Patriots, probably much better defensively than anyone was giving them credit for. Not as much on the offensive side. And it was our defense that had to pull our feet out of the fire. I mean, you take away that big play Slade pick 6, that's a loss, folks. So take it for what it is. Learn from it. The unfortunate thing is the quick turnaround. And I can't stand that. And we're going to get into that in our final portion of the show here. We're really cruising right along, which is nice. Because I need to get a good night's sleep. I couldn't sleep worth a damn last night. And I've got a big day tomorrow. I need to work between 6 and 6:30. I'll get home about 4:30, 4:40. And then I'm up to the back porch for 7 o'clock. And then the game's 8:15 or whatever. And I won't be home until midnight. So I'm going to be a mess on Friday. But all right, let's hop back over to the room here. You guys have been really active, and I love it. Andrew Bagley, I like what I see from Ellis at linebacker, and I think he should play over Dean, in my opinion. Well, you're not going to have to worry about that. Dean is out for at least 4 weeks. The foot injury, they put him on IR. That means he's going to be out for 4 weeks. So other guys are going to get opportunities, including the gentleman we signed. Where the hell did I have that? I didn't have it. Oh, well. It was on the Atlanta practice squad, and we picked him up just the other day. He had a nice year last year with the Falcons, and the Falcons kind of stink. So let me get it here. I know I've got it somewhere. Here he is. We signed linebacker Rashaan Evans, 6'2", 232 pounds, 27 years old. He was a former first-round pick in the 2018 draft, was on the Titans practice squad when we grabbed him. He's played 3,887 snaps with 67 starts in his career. 565 snaps at inside linebacker for Atlanta last year. He tallied 159 tackles, 6 of them for a loss, 4 passes defensed, 1 forced fumble, and 2 sacks. I mean, look, you could do worse. I don't need a superstar. I need someone who can play the position and do the job, right? I don't need a superstar. And maybe this guy's the answer. Maybe they cheat down with Blankenship a little bit. I mean, who knows? He likes to come up and lay a lumber. Who knows? Keenan Harmon, hope Yoda's handler took his good old time with the. Not sure what the hell that is. Kevin Rice, I wonder if Rodgers' total time pregame running out has lasted longer. Well, I mean, yeah, he definitely warmed up more than he played. The Bills had the ball first. So there you go. Russ Taylor says, did you know the Pittsburgh Steelers don't have cheerleaders? They can't find 24 good-looking girls in those city limits. Well, I tell you what, it didn't look like they could find 22 decent football players this past Sunday. There's another team that had its troubles. Wait, what are you guys talking about over here? Andrew Bagley, thoughts on Job getting some playing time at corner? I like the kid when he played at Bama. Well, we're going to find out, dude, because apparently he's getting the start. And that's a perfect segue right into this. Well, let me post the StreamYard link again. I do want to talk about our defense from Sunday a little bit, and then we'll get to the Minnesota game. Thank God for our defense on Sunday. Now, I get it. Mac Jones looked better than he probably should have. Keep in mind, our offense did not do much to keep the defense fresh. All right. The Pats, while we didn't establish much of a running game, the Pats were also not able, and they were worse. 22 carries for 76 yards overall. Rashad Stevenson, 12 carries, 25 yards. Mac Jones, 2 for 15. Montgomery, 1 for 7. And our old friend Zeke Elliott, 7 carries, 29 yards until he got smacked by Jordan Davis and coughed up that football. That was beautiful. Oh, we had a good time with that on Sunday. I was yelling all kinds of obscenities at the television. Pass defense was a little bit of a different story. But again, offense leaving him hang out to dry like that so many times in a row. I'm going to go ahead and choose to focus on the positives from this because the defense is what won that. Defense and Jakey are what won that game for us. Big play Slay. We'll start there. 3 tackles and the pick 6, right? That pick 6 is the difference in the game. Jordan Davis, 6 tackles, forced a fumble on Zeke, and had shared a sack of Mac Jones with Josh Sweat. So a nice game for last year's number 1 pick. Reed Blankenship led the way. 12 tackles, 9 of them solo. He didn't practice yesterday. I didn't look and see if he had practiced today. I was busy getting out of work, getting home. Nakobe Dean, I thought he was okay. I am concerned that he's too small. I was concerned he was too small when we drafted him. That is, to me, the obvious reason why he slid down the draft from what people were calling first-round talent to where we got him in the 3rd round. Size and injury. And part of my other concern, and I'm going to say it, and I said this last year, so you can't knock me for anything here because this is not anything I haven't said previously. We've taken a lot of guys off of that Georgia defense, right? Davis, Carter, Dean, Ringo, Smith. Sooner or later, one of these guys is going to be the guy who looked great on that defense because more about who he was playing with than his actual play. And I am concerned, and I was concerned about this last year, I am concerned that guy's Nakobe Dean. I hope to God I'm wrong because he is a smart kid. I've watched interviews with him. I've seen I've read a lot about him. He's a smart kid. He's a decent kid. And I want him to succeed, obviously, because he plays for the Birds, but also because he seems like a solid young man. But that is my concern with Nakobe Dean. James Bradbury had 1 pass defense and 4 tackles, but he's now in concussion protocol. And because of this freaking short week, we're not going to see Bradbury tomorrow night. Then we get to Jalen Carter, who, folks, the league is going to have to do something very quickly about double teaming him or something because he is an absolute menace. His first play, he's on the field. And I don't know if the guard was actually trying to block him or what, but he got thrown to the side like a rag doll. He had the sack and only tallied one tackle. But, I mean, you guys all watched the game too. Did it not feel like when he was on the field, he was constantly in the backfield just blowing stuff up, disrupting things, even if he didn't make the hit, the sack, the tackle, whatever? It just felt like he was constantly bothering that Patriots backfield. And I don't think that's going to change against really anyone else in the league. They're going to have to double him, which is going to cause problems elsewhere on your offensive line when you start talking about Sweat, Davis, Cox, and the deep rotation. Considering how inconsistent the offense played, I really felt like the defense played really well. I do. So again, let's not overreact to the first game of the year. We talked about the Detroit game, talked about Pats being a little bit better. And in both instances, we won both games, right? Ultimately, we won the games. And that's what's important. Move on to week 2. So, up there again. I'm going to keep heckling you guys with this thing. Jordan Ramsey, Howie has never invested into linebacker. Last great linebacker we had, probably D'Amico Ryans, and before him, probably Trotter. It's true. Now, look, this is true. He also doesn't invest in the running back position, right? We don't invest deeply in the safety position. So when you look at the middle of the field, it can be a problem. And if you sit back and cover 3, and you get an offense that's capable, they're going to find that soft spot right over the linebackers and in front of the safeties. And then what happens? You start creeping up, and then somebody's open downfield and so on and so forth. I don't need to tell you guys all that. But no, I mean, look, you're not going to have a superstar everywhere. The idea with Nakobe Dean was we got first-round talent on a third-round draft pick. We'll see. To this point, the early returns aren't very good, but it's early. So let's get him back on the field and see how that goes. Russ Taylor, your show attracts people wanting to call and bother me, so I have to mute it. Andrew Bagley. Kickoff and punt return coverage is still bad. How does Clay, the coordinator, keep the job? Good question. I don't have the answer to that, buddy. You'd think we would have learned something from the Super Bowl, but here we are. All right, let's move on to tomorrow night's game, and then we'll call it a week. Okay? We're going to wash out what was bad on Sunday and look forward to tomorrow night against the Vikings. Once again, we open the link with a primetime game versus Minnesota. I don't think there's a need to bring up much about last season's game. We all know what happened. Slay took care of Justin Jefferson. And while the scoreboard didn't dictate that it didn't look like the Dallas versus New York game from Sunday night, we dominated that game without absolutely shredding them on the scoreboard. I mean, I think you saw some very conservative play calling late in the game. That was a Monday night game, though. This is a Thursday night, and I don't like Thursday night football, okay? And it's got nothing to do with the fact that some of the matchups have been crap over the years. I just don't like it, all right? I don't like forcing teams, especially this early in the season. I don't like forcing teams to come after the first game of the year to turn around and have to play 3 days later, right? You get 3 days of practice, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and you're right back at it. I don't. And now look at us. Let's take us, for example. Well, maybe if we played on Sunday, is there a chance Bradbury could clear protocol? Yeah, there's a chance. But playing Thursday, no chance. I know Cousins stinks in primetime games and the Vikings defense is still trash, but we are down, as was brought up earlier, we're down starters on defense. And Gainwell's got banged up ribs. So, I do not like the quick turnaround at all. And I get that we get the longer week following, to me, it's still nonsense because even though we get to play a Monday night afterwards, oh, it's like having a second bye week. No, it's not, because we're also not home. We got to go to Tampa. So the whole thing just sucks. But I'm going to get off my soapbox about Thursday Night Football and stop complaining about it. Even with the injuries, we are the more talented team. Okay. When you look at the quarterback, the trenches, the overall defense, these should all be big wins for us. All right. Jalen is a much more talented athlete than Kirk Cousins is. I'm still going to go with our offensive line versus, better than their defensive line, and our defensive line better than their offensive line. And it should be significant. Okay. There are some areas of concern, though. Jordan Addison had himself a nice first game in what was one of the only bright spots for Minnesota in their week 1 loss. He went 4 catches, 61 yards, and a touchdown. It's a nice start, and he's going to line up opposite Justin Jefferson. And we don't have Bradbury. So that's going to, that could cause a problem. Slay completely bottled up JJ last year. I don't think it's realistic to assume that we're going to keep Jefferson that much in check again. Andrew Bagley, again, with the good information here. Over-under for Jefferson on game is only 97. Yeah, and it's a 7-point spread right now, which, no thanks. Too early in the year for that kind of crap. I don't think it's a very realistic expectation to assume that we are going to keep Justin Jefferson at bay the same way we did last year. Okay. That was freakish what Slay did with him. Is it possible? Sure. Look what Slay did this past week, and it's early in the year, right? So Slay is on his game. He's 32, 33 years old. So later in the year, you might have some trouble, but early on, he's bringing it. Only 3 days off. Sucks, but whatever. The bigger issue, well, I think you have to assume Justin Jefferson is going to have a better game than he did last year. Justin Jefferson, there's probably what would you guys say, 5-ish receivers in the league that can all make a case for themselves to be the number one, to be the best receiver in football, right? Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs, Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson. And honestly, Justin Jefferson probably is the best wide receiver in football. So you have to think he's going to do a little bit better. But Slay is also a damn good corner. So I don't expect him to get torched. I just don't expect the same returns as last year. Slay is going to have to be on top of his game, though. Because the bigger problem, I think, when we talk about the middle of our defense, when we played Minnesota last year, they did not have a tight end by the name of TJ Hawkinson. He was with Detroit. He is now with Minnesota, and he is a very good pass-catching tight end. He is a strong weapon for an offense. And we are weak in the middle. So that's where I wonder if, playing against a Minnesota team that is not as physical, do you think about bringing Reed Blankenship down to play a little bit of linebacker, take that coverage with Hawkinson, and maybe Sidney Brown slides into that other safety spot? I don't know. But I think they're going to have to get creative on defense to do something about protecting the middle of the field. Otherwise, I think Hawkinson may have a field day out there. All right. I think we all know the key to the victory tomorrow night, right? This is primetime Cousins. Don't let him breathe. Speed up his internal clock, make him force throws, get him off schedule, constant pressure in his face. That portion of it is the same thing we did last year, and that is what needs to happen again this year. Okay. And I think it's totally well within our grasp to be able to handle the trenches and get in his face. And I think that's where the game is won. We should be able to generate enough pressure on him to where he's going to have to get throws out much more quickly than he wants to. It will stunt their play design. They will, it stops them from being able to stretch the field, and it forces Cousins into really, really crappy throws. On offense, look, again, we're not overreacting to the first week of the season, but I do expect to look much, much better against a weak Vikings defense. Okay. That's a Vikings defense that was near the bottom of the league last year and didn't do a whole hell of a lot to improve it. Stuff the run game down their throat. Come on out there, get physical right away, and just push them around. And I want to see a rotation. You want Gainwell out there for the first few plays? Fine, but then get Swift out there. Let Boston Scott spell him for a little bit. Maybe Penny's not a healthy scratch this week. We give him the rock a few times too. But downhill run. And then take your shots downfield on play action once that defense is all beat up and tired from getting pushed around. And that's it. Smack Cousins around and run the ball down the defense's throat, and we'll come out on top tomorrow night. I think we're coming out on top tomorrow night anyways, guys. It's the home opener. That's going to be a very charged up crowd. I think we're going to be just fine. All right, one more time over to the room before we call it a night here. Russ Taylor, the good thing is that we have gotten our Thursday night out of the way. Yeah, I guess. I guess better now than late in the year. Just sucks. I don't like that at all. Lou Mancini says unless they flex. Very true. Who the hell is this? Skull. Yeah, we're going to skull your asses back to Minnesota tomorrow night. Welcome aboard, Reed. Lou Mancini took my brother from another mother to Angelo Saturday before the Phillies game. I imagine he made the same sounds as you did. I lost my phone too. Oh, geez. Lost your phone? Dude, it's been a rough couple of weeks. Yeah, you had the misstep last week and now the phone. Christ. Reed, that's not how loss is spelled. Very nice, Lou. Thank you. Andrew Bagley with the score update on the Braves. Braves up 2-1, bottom of the first. David Califoot, do you think we win by more than a touchdown? Look, I think we should. But the way our offense looked last week, I wouldn't lay 7 points. It would just be a little bit too risky for me. But I'm not a big gambler, guys. First of all, I never bet on or against my team ever in any sport. Second of all, I might throw $5 on something here and there just to make it fun or whatever. But for the most part, guys, I'm not a gambler. So if you're looking for that kind of advice, do I think we should win by more than 7? Yeah, I think we should. I think we're more talented. I think if we execute offensively and our offensive line does what it's supposed to do, we're going to score a lot of points. And on the flip side, as long as we're able to get in Cousins' face and smack him around a bit, he's not going to have time to get the ball downfield to a Justin Jefferson, a Jordan Addison, a TJ Hawkinson. So, execute. That's really all it's going to take. We're the better team, and we're at home at night where Cousins struggles. Execute, and it's a victory. All right, kids. That's all I got for this week. So we had a little fun with New York football, calling them all out for the boner of the week. Good God, the Giants were brutal. Again, the only downside to that was, it was against the Cowboys. Aaron Rodgers done for the season, possibly for his career. Josh Allen continues to regress. That's about it, guys. We look forward to tomorrow night. I'm hoping to have 15 or 20 maybe tomorrow night. I don't know. Not looking too good for the head count. Looking even worse for the Monday night game. But I'll be in Tampa for that one, so I may just tell the folks to stay home. Anyways, David Califoot. I wouldn't bet on my team either if I were a Yankees fan. You realize we're both in last place right now after we swept the doubleheader yesterday. So we'll see how it all shakes out, Califoot. Season ain't over yet. Anyways, everyone. Andrew Bagley, David Califoot, Lou Mancini, Russ Taylor, Keenan Harmon. Who else am I getting? Jordan Ramsey, Lou Dominguez, Kevin Rice. A decent list here tonight, huh? And everyone else out there. And Reed, the Vikings fan. So you come talk to us next week after you're 0-2. You know, there are some people out there who think the Vikings are quietly tanking to have a better draft pick. So we'll see. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for being here tonight. Always appreciate it. Come back again next week when, we won't quite be able to be back in the nest yet. I'll try to work that out, but we'll see. Until then, this has been the Unhappy Gilmore Show, powered by Green Legion Radio, part of the Green Legion Radio family. Everyone, take care. Enjoy your weekend. No birds this weekend, so get some relaxing in. It's going to be a long season. Get on out there. If you're not part of that Green Legion crowd tomorrow night, shame on you. But for my bid, there's Kevin Rice, Midwest Eagles house. 4 more cups tomorrow. You dick. Anyways, folks, that's it for me tonight. We're looking forward to tomorrow. I will be in my nest tomorrow night with my crew, with my cowbell, and ready to rock. So enjoy your weekend. Take care. And as always, go Birds! All right, kids, that's it. I got to get out of here. Have a good night. Take care. We love you.